How are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm all right.
Good. We are Lancaster, PA, but our schedules are nuts thanks to me doing way too many conventions and asking too much of my friends with the schedule. So we're recording in Pennsylvania College of Art and Design today, where I teach figure drawing. So if the setting looks different than you're used to, that's why. PCAD's in downtown Lancaster, PA. It's about an hour west of Philly. Beautiful little city. If you're interested in art schools, check them out at PCAD. I think it's pcad.edu.
Yeah.
Ask for a tour. It's a smallish art school, but with a ton of resources. So it's a nice setting to study art without all the high pressure of being in a bigger city, but still with all the amenities of a city. So, and also our good friends at Blackwing, and stuff to work with. They wait, where's that box? Actually, do you mind if I show
Oh, yeah.
you? Mairin-Taj just got this new edition. So Blackwing does these volumes, and each one's sort of a different, unique set. So she just got these. So this is volume 574. You can see the number or not. And I'm not going to open them because they're sealed and these are hers, but they make these beautiful sets all the time. So check out Blackwing. I'll put a link in the description. Yeah. So the show is pretty simple. Mairin-Taj and I talk about art and life and whatever while I draw on sheet poses. Mairin-Taj is a professional artist and art model, and just a good guru. She's always dropping. I was looking through my old sketchbook here, and I'm always writing down quotes that Mairin-Taj is saying. And there was one that jumped out at me recently. It was like, stop investing in...
No.
I'm pausing the show to quote you. Stop investing in a big crash. That was, I don't know why that jumped out at me.
I don't remember why I said that.
Yeah. Forging anything. Wait. Forgiving anything is never beautiful? That one doesn't sound, I must have wrote that wrong.
I don't remember that either.
So anyway, if you see me stop drawing to write something down, it's because I want to remember something wise that Mairin-Taj has said. I'm still trying to talk her into starting a religion of her own. But anyway, talked about is taking a break from drawing. That could be a day, or I guess it could be a longer period of time.
Yeah,
So,
I just reached out. You want to start posing?
Yeah, let's start. I'll start
Okay.
drawing.
I'll do a 3-minute.
Okie doke.
I just reached out to Mike the other day and was like, what about talking about artists having their day of rest?
Yes.
And speaking of religion, not that I'm
Yeah, anyway.
in any way.
See, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, not thinking of religiosity as it were, but the dogmatic day of rest of like Christianity or whatever.
Yeah,
like
it's
Sunday.
Sabbath. Yeah.
Referencing that, but like because it's regular and it's sort of like this is what we do. It's not really negotiable. Like this is the day of rest.
Yes.
Right? Even if you're not even feeling like you want to rest, this is the day of rest. And I'm just thinking like, what if artists had that for themselves? So it could be tailored to everyone individually.
Yeah.
But like, what if Monday? I don't know what criteria you want to use.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be necessarily by the day or by the week, but.
And is there a benefit you see to that? Or?
I feel like it has to be regular. I think the benefit to having it regular, frequently, and like sort of self-imposed is you're giving yourself a bit of an out, and you're making sure that you're not over pushing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think it's a great. So when you said it, it's funny because I would have never thought of this subject. I tend to think if you've listened to the show, usually talking about like how do we draw more, how do we get more people to draw, like some weird, I don't know, like I almost said a specific religion, but we all know there's religions that are more aggressive about trying to get you to join up, and that's sort of how I am about drawing. And
you should start your own religion.
I should. It would not go well. And I think when you said about taking breaks, it immediately it struck me because I forced, and they're hard to do. Like if you're regularly drawing, you can do it anywhere, you can take it with you anywhere with a sketchbook, and I have found it's surprisingly hard to go a day without drawing. But when I do, and I come back to it, I feel almost recharged. And it made me think of, I played a lot of sports and worked out a lot when I was a kid. And there were times when like you would work out and you're always sore, and then you just, maybe you take like you've made more progress than had you stayed in the gym.
Yes.
So I wonder if there's not something to that, you know?
I think absolutely, for sure. I've noticed that for myself. But I do want to make a distinction. I feel like there is a distinction between probably what we all do to some degree of like, oh, I've been pushing myself, I'll like, take a break after dinner, or I'll take a 20-minute break or something. That's different from whatever. I don't do this for a day.
Right.
Like I am taking several steps back.
Yeah.
Like as if you're going on vacation. Like no work. I promised my wife I'm not going to look at my computer. Like that kind of like real setback.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, yeah. Like maybe setbacks not a good way to say it, but
step back. I meant.
Yeah, like like an actual organized Sabbath.
Yeah.
And you're gonna follow it, and your work happens to be drawing.
Right. Yeah, an artist Sabbath.
Yeah.
I think that could be worth defining for ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, it's forget the religious implications involved, right? Just a day where we are sort of, I don't know, thankful, showing gratitude to something, whatever you were, in an organized way is maybe a nice also. Like if you're in a bad spot with your drawing and your painting or whatever, it might be nice to have something to look forward to, like where you don't have to think about it, but you also get a moment to think about it without the work involved.
Right.
I don't know if I'm wording that correctly, but I think we're all thinking about how we are going to draw or what we're going to draw. And that kicks in when you're not physically doing the thing. And maybe that's beneficial.
Yeah, and when you kind of preset a time when you're not supposed to be going there, you're kind of giving yourself permission to zoom out your focus enough to kind of have a macro lens at life again.
Right.
Which I think us artists can forget about.
You're absolutely frustrated because the day before I hadn't gotten as much stuff as I had planned done. And I have a trip to New York, so I have this kind of like clock ticking the whole time. Yeah. And I don't remember if we spoke before or after Sunday. I want to say it was.
I think before.
I think it was before because I think by Monday I sort of do this mental, like I beat myself up for all the stuff I haven't finished.
Yeah,
and
I know what that's like.
Yeah. Well, shit, it was Sunday. Like maybe it's okay that I didn't get a bunch of shit done. Maybe just chill out and I'll get to it when I get to it. And so it was good timing, by the way. Because I don't, having to travel for all these shows is not fun for me. Like people will often romanticize it, like, oh man, you get to go to all these places. And I'm not that I don't like traveling, but I don't like the act of traveling. Like, having undiagnosed ADD, you almost lose, like if I have a trip coming up on a Thursday, like I have to leave Thursday for Manhattan, like I will almost lose the entire week. Because I'm like always mentally getting on the train or getting on the plane or getting in the car. And it messes me up. And if I had a day, I think if I had a day like what you're saying where I'm just like, well, I'm not thinking about anything work related, I might be able to reset in a healthier way. All right, so Mairin-Taj has her back to us. If you can't hear her well, it's because the microphone is in a funny spot compared to where she is. But
I'll try to project more.
There there you go. So, is this something you're doing currently? Like, have you brought this into your practice of just taking a day off?
I for a long time before I actually had this version of the thought that I pitched to you.
Okay.
I was kind of taking, for a number of reasons with my life, my schedule, and then my partner's schedule, I was taking Mondays as me day.
Gotcha.
And so Monday became my Sundays.
Right, right.
Because Sundays I actually end up doing a lot of work. So I was like, I need a Sunday.
Yeah, yeah.
But that the thought that I had and shared with you, and so I don't really have like a up-to-date version of it.
Right.
But I would like to, and I think in this thought, like I think it has to be something that you have to kind of regularly do a little self-audit and be like, okay, does my day need to change? You know, like how's my life going?
Right.
You know, it's not
Right.
something that's going to stay the same forever. You know, you don't set it and forget it. But I think it's probably something that has to.
Is it currently still Monday if you're doing it?
I haven't been doing it, so
Okay.
I'm kind of in like a weird no man's land with it.
Yeah.
Of the practice, it's kind of paused, but I'd like to do a self-audit and be like, okay, when is this day going to be?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the reason I'm asking is that, I think Sunday is the traditional religious, like Sabbath, or Saturday,
Yeah.
really depending on what you practice. But most of us are sort of stuck in whatever our work schedule is. I know, like my wife and I, before we were married and had kids, she always worked in restaurants. So Monday was sort of her Sunday.
Yeah.
And, because, oops, pencil. If you know anything about the restaurant business, you don't take off Sunday, right? Like it's a crazy day to take off. So it was always Mondays for her. And we would just like hop in a car and drive and sort of post. Actually, no, you know what? This was before the internet where we had, everybody had smartphones. We just picked a direction and drove, and didn't worry about getting back until Tuesday morning. And I remember it was fun, obviously, but it was also kind of refreshing. It's not a thing we get to do anymore. And I wonder if there's not something to just having an easy day,
Yeah.
a day where you're just like, I'm just gonna live and not give a shit that I'm obsessed about.
Or whatever your thing is, or your
Yeah.
things are. But yeah, absolutely. I love that too. Sometimes, like years ago, I used to do that with Dimitri, and we would just like
Just hit the
pick
road,
a
just
direction,
go somewhere.
explore.
Yeah.
And we've been really missing that.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of need it, and I don't want to give any information about Dimitri, but he has a tradition 9 to 5,
Yeah.
and you do not. So there's got to be a lot of like,
Knitting together is
Yeah.
difficult.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
As does my wife now, and it's still hard to pull off. Like once you fall out of that practice, it's kind of hard to get it back. Like the idea of just jumping in a car, picking a direction, and just taking a day to rest would be kind of, I don't want to say impossible, but it would be crazy to imagine how we pull it off now with all this stuff going on, So if we were just to schedule the damn thing, maybe it's a better way to go about it. Just, yeah.
I mean, an experimental idea. Something to play with.
Yeah. Now, for me, so we talk specifically about drawing in this show, and I think the benefits to it, and I mentioned it a little earlier with the sports/gym comparison. I think when you're sort of in the heat of just, I'm drawing, and I have this practice and it's going really well, and I feel like I'm making progress. It can feel weird to just not do it. And if anything, for me, a day off just meant I drew a little less. But I think in terms of a drawing practice or an art practice, it's maybe not such a bad thing to just give yourself time to think about the thing without physically doing it. And I had a professor years ago that said like he would always make his best progress when he was frustrated and just walked out of control. The fight of physically doing it.
Yeah.
I think sometimes a physical task, because craft and art, I just wrote a column about this actually. When I was in art school, craft was like a bad word, because craft and art were not supposed to be the same. Most people are used to hearing arts and crafts together. But in the fine art world, craft is like for people to use in some way, and art is not that, and you were never supposed to make comparisons. But I always liked to think of drawing and art as like a craft that I had to physically get good at. But I think the part that would get lost on me is the art part. And I always thought of like, I could just physically, if I just draw enough, I'll figure it out. And I would lose track of the part of art where you do have to kind of stop. That's all to say that I think your advice maybe is a subtle way to make your drawings better, like maybe a counterintuitive way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, hopefully a like you said, a subtle way to kind of catch yourself and maybe reprogram whatever's been going on lately for you.
I'm okay with whatever, yeah.
Move to 5.
Okay.
Can you see okay with that?
Yeah, the microphone's kind of in the way, but I'll make do. It's all good. I won't know where your belly button is. That's
Oh no, the midline, the twist.
You know, also like in going back, I hate to keep using exercise metaphors, but you know, when you're working out, the growth comes in the rest period, not the exercise part, right?
Yeah.
Like you kind of break yourself down, and then your body has to stitch itself back together, and that's when you get stronger, bigger, faster, whatever it is your goal is. And so maybe you think of these rest periods, you know, where you're giving yourself a chance to like recover from the quote-unquote workout of drawing intensely and working on pieces, and then maybe some growth happens when you're not actually physically doing the thing and just taking your Sabbath, you know?
Exactly, and I mean it's not quite exactly the same thing, but similarly, the brain also works really well with gaps for training memory recall.
Yeah.
You psychologically you're training, you know, to recall what you're studying or recall what you've been practicing or what you've seen. You know, if you're reading about art, if you're doing art history, if you're working on, you know, other theories and philosophies other artists have, and you're trying to be like, well, what did they say, or you know, how am I applying this to my work, or what was my, you know, you just kind of sit with things more and let your brain have a regular actively working on. I think that memory recall has been shown to be one of the best ways to really build up that library in your head.
Yeah. There's definitely, I mean, so you're supposed to work on a thing and then let it go, and the way to remember it the best is like, and I forget the period of time. I used to have a thing where I kept track of this, where you come back to it right when you're about to giving yourself a break, and then coming back to it at the right time.
Exactly, and I think figuring out that right time for you is really important. You know, when you can sense that your psyche is starting to reach, you're like, whoa, that's a good moment to lean in. But you can't lean into that if you've just been on. Right. You know.
Right. Exactly.
Unrelentingly.
Which I tend to do, and I think it also makes me my work kind of stagnant. I think like I if I'm always drawing, it's like it gets sharper, but not necessarily better. if that makes any sense. Like I'll notice that when I'm drawing incessantly, and I have in the past gone a little too hard, and I think I'm doing something positive because I'm thinking, well, I'm working through the desire to want to quit, and that somehow makes you a better professional, and blah blah blah. And, but I looks sharp and everything is drawn well, but it's a little hollow. And I'm working on a book now where I've like taken a little bit of break from sequential artwork.
Yeah.
And I'm coming back to it, and at first I felt rusty, and I was like, holy shit, what's going on? Because I've been on monthly books for 20 years, and if you're not familiar, I mean comics, and a monthly book is like 20 pages to 22 pages a month. And I needed to get off of that.
Merry-go-round?
Yeah, merry-go-round. I was thinking more of those wheels that rats run on.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, merry-go-round is better. And being off of it for a while, coming back to sequential work, I had a little bit of a hard time, and I was overthinking it. But once I got into it again, I caught myself doing things that I haven't allowed myself to do in the monthly books, because I could stop and go. Normally do, but tells this story better.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it on purpose.
Right.
I just sort of stumbled on it. So when you mentioned it, it was one of those things that popped in my head. That shit. Well, something came out of that weird rusty feeling where it made me. It forced me to not just go, well, I know how I do this. I did it yesterday, and I do it in the same way every time.
Right.
And it forced me to like reevaluate, like we were talking about earlier. I hope the work is better. We'll see. I showed it to some friends. I have one friend that is like, he's always mean.
He's always mean.
He doesn't like anything. I mean, he does. He's very supportive. But you, as an artist, you need a friend that's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, you need
like,
real feedback.
Yeah, you need someone who's willing to say like, I mean, it's okay. It looks good, but is that all you got? And I showed him some of these new pages. It's about new paint, yeah. And he was like, "These are beautiful, Mike," which he never talks like that.
Hey.
So I just thought, all right, shit, maybe I'm onto something. And I don't know that I would have gotten there if I'd have just jumped straight, because I had just come off of Batman. I don't know if it was just straight from Batman to this. And this guy also like derailed me in a way that I probably needed to be derailed, because when I'm drawing this new book, and it's completely creator-owned stuff, and that messed me up. Cause I'm like, well, why not? Like that sold like crazy. Like that, the last, and I don't say this to brag, but like that last run I was on, like I think it was 2023. I had drawn 5 of the top 10 books that year.
Nice.
It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8. And so I was thinking that. I was thinking the past. I was thinking, well, I'll just do what I've been doing. Said, no, it can't look like Batman. But it didn't give details. It was just like, yeah, don't do any more of that stuff. And I could not. I just could not draw. I was like, what the hell? I've never had what's it called? What do writers call it? Writer's block.
Artist block.
So I guess I had a kind of artist block, because I was thinking, what does it mean to not draw like yourself? Or, yeah, that's how I saw it at first.
Yeah.
What I came to realize was that I thought with it. I thought about it rather. And what I was really saying was, what's it mean to not draw like the quote-unquote successful version of yourself? What's it mean to start over? And I remember reaching out to him. I'm like, look, man, I don't know what you meant by that, but like, I gotta figure this out. And we talked a little bit, and he's like, it just means you need to dig deeper, and you should show that you have a different, how did he put it? Right.
Success story.
Right.
Trying to mimic it.
Right, and you don't do that by just forcing the drawing. Like,
Yeah.
I really needed a rest period. Now, it wasn't a day. I was doing other things, like I was still doing figure drawing, I was still doing covers, doing a lot of character design stuff, but it got me away from it just long enough that I feel like I finally made a breakthrough, and I get what he's saying now. And that's a long draw, so you can get better. It makes sense if you really, really give it. Like don't just take a Sabbath, but take a Sabbath to like be grateful and think your way through the work you've already done. And then you're like almost more energized to get back to it after that day of rest.
Yeah, I think so. And on this show, we've talked a lot. We've had episodes where we discuss more technically, like setting a timer. We've talked about that. And we've also talked about the more macro version of like, we've discussed, seasons and weather
Correct.
in your work, where you are in a season of like lower and slower, and you're not really, nose to the grindstone. So that's another kind of version of it. And I think then having a practice that integrates a set day of rest is another layer to and then the ebb.
Yeah.
How do you balance those things? I think all of those versions that I've mentioned are worth, regularly making sure you get those doses.
Yes. No, it's very, very wise, I think. And I think that's what makes these sessions helpful for me, because I'm not wired to think of like, how do I get better by not doing? I think it's a great point to make. So yeah, I think that's smart. So we're about a half an hour in. Maybe we'll.
You want to call it?
Yeah, I'm thinking we can do maybe one more drawing.
Okay.
And then call it.
Great.
And then yeah.
Let's do another 5.
Let's do it.
So when's your day of rest?
That's the thing, is I cannot do it. Like right now, it's
You're in a season of no day of rest.
it's especially now with all this traveling and doing shows. But I'm also doing too much, and I realize like my tendency is just to do too much, and I don't. I like if I was to say I'm going to take a day off, I don't know when that would be. It would probably be a Sunday, if I like my kids are around, and I can at least have them around and just relax.
It's a good available day.
But my wife will still, often Sunday is the day that she's the most busy. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know when I would do it. Plus, I have like this new book is coming out, and they're very big undertakings, because even once you're done drawing it, you have to start all the promo stuff.
Yeah.
I have a thing outside of the comics world that I have. That at some point, we're going to start the editing process. So there's just a lot on my plate, and I wish I had a way of just shutting up everybody and figuring out a way to do this, where I don't need to put out fire every day. And that probably means I desperately need to do what you're saying. Even talking about it, I'm catching myself like talking in short bursts. It's probably my body saying like, dude.
Season up a little.
Yeah. I wish that as artists we could do I'm just gonna disappear to some small town and write a book, or go to some little island and paint, or just disappear in some way. No social media, no nothing, and just make something, and then come to the world with it once it's complete.
Sometimes, if you're in a season or in a phase where you really do need to be on all cylinders, firing on all cylinders, and you have the energy to do that, then that's where you're at. Go.
I just know that I need I think the work and I need the break in a way that I'm not always consciously aware of. Like I just now, and I've been more recently trying to be more aware of like what all this crazy stuff is doing to me physically. Because like I have a handful of injuries from, I mentioned my sports days, and from working in factories and stuff as a kid. But like some of that stuff will come back, and the timing is funny. Like I'll get some flare up of some injury, and it's like right when I have to do 3 shows in a month, or I'm winning. And I'm not saying that it's psychosomatic, but like I think there is some connection, I know with me, between how I'm feeling physically and how I'm feeling about my work.
Yeah.
And I need to be more aware of that. And maybe I can't take a full-blown break, but like this trip to Thursday for New York, I'm catching myself looking forward to just a train ride.
Yes.
Because I realize, right, like I'm neither here nor there yet. I'm stuck on the train for 3 hours, and so I can't force myself. Like, okay, well, I'm gonna, like, I can't draw because the train's rocking.
Right.
I can't, so I'm gonna have to do nothing.
There's nothing that you can get away with.
Right.
Well, that's a great analogy for my day of rest. Like, you need to find yourself a regular train to sit on.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Writing it down. Find yourself.
Go take a train ride.
Train to sit on.
Metaphorically.
To sit in. How about that? So it doesn't sound like we're riding on top of a train. Yeah, maybe that's it. Like just force myself to take train rides. I noticed when we live near Philly here in Lancaster, and I was taking a trip out to speak at Moore College Bar like a year or so ago, and that we were talking about, hey, you should maybe come out and consider teaching. It's kind of nice to just have this hour in the train to not have to do anything, think about anything. So,
Right.
all right, I think we'll leave it there unless you have anything to add.
I was just gonna say trains are so like romantic and lulling.
Yes.
Like you can just kind of feel like you're just
Yes. Oh my God, I love it.
in a liminal moment.
I wish we'd invest more in trains in this country. Like I rode one in France from Saint-Malo to Paris. Like you can leave and not worry about, will I have a seat when I come back?
Yeah.
And the second floor was a restaurant bar.
Wow.
So a bunch of artists that were all upstairs, like having drinks and just chilling out. And it's just like, it's countryside. Obviously, it's France, so it's beautiful. And I was just like, wow, you guys are taking this for granted. You got it so good.
Yes.
Like we're on old rickety trains that are shaking themselves to death. So yeah, I wish we had more trains in this country. Watching, we do these once a month,
Yeah.
and we give them a week early to our Patreon patrons. I'll put both of our Patreons in the description. You join either one, you'll get the show, and every 5th show we do live so you folks can actually ask questions. Mairin-Taj's Patreon is exceptional. She has tons of demos, art resources, so definitely check those out. Check out the folks in the descriptions for you to order the same pencils that we both use. And thanks to the folks here at PCAT for letting us use their space.
Yeah.
So yeah, did you want to tell them where they can find you on Instagram or wherever?
Instagram is just studio_Mair, M-A-I-R.
M-A-I-R. All right, right on. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next month. Bye.